If I'm being 100% honest, hold on, this is dumb. Okay, this is better. If I'm being 100% honest with you, there is, I was going to say there's no part of me, but that's not true. The majority of me didn't want to film this video. Is this lighting even good? Hold on. I think I've got to... Oh, no, it's the other way. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did not want to film this video 15 minutes ago. I was finishing up some work task, and I realized I had 2 hours until my date night with my wife, which I'm very excited for. And I had this, excuse me, I've got a few burps happening because I'm drinking one of these prebiotic sodas. But I had 2 hours until my date night with my wife, and I was kind of like, okay, I've got to film my YouTube video. Committed to filming 2 YouTube videos a week. And I had this idea for this like more in-depth YouTube video that I was going to film, which I will upload either end of this week or maybe next week. And I just did not want to film the video. I was just sitting at my desk, and I felt totally mentally tired. I felt like I had given all of myself. And I was like, I don't want to do the video. I don't want to freaking do the video. And I sat there, and I kid you not, I was in my office, sitting there, literally complaining out loud, as if I was explaining to somebody why I didn't want to film the video. But I was alone. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I don't want to do the freaking video. I feel like I've given them my, like, I'm speaking this stuff out loud. And luckily my wife wasn't home. That would have been weird if she heard me talking to myself like that. But I was sitting there just thinking, I don't want to do the video right now. I don't want to film the video. And I finally kind of got a little bit of inspiration. My inspiration was because I realized that I felt just like all the people who I want to serve feel when they know they should go work out and they committed to go work out, but they don't want to work out or they don't want to eat right. They've got some event or something and they know they should stay on their diet and they're just like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to freaking do it. I just want to eat whatever I want. I realized I felt just like all the people who I serve. I felt just like those guys feel a lot of the time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And I realized, like, oh, this is, okay. This is not uncommon. It's not an uncommon feeling, and I don't feel it very often in fitness. I feel it sometimes, but generally in fitness, like, I really want to do the thing. I'm excited. I'm energized. I enjoy working out. I enjoy eating healthy. I generally just like want to go do the things. But sometimes I don't. And so as I was sitting there, audibly complaining to no one about what I had to go do, I was inspired. And so I decided to film this video on how to make yourself do the things you don't want to do. How to stay consistent even when you don't feel like it. Because ultimately, it's these moments that can make or break our long-term success. It's these moments that, honestly, I believe the Lord's assessing to see if he can trust us with what he's given us. And if we're constantly losing these battles, I don't think it's... Just got a text from my wife. I don't think it's that like we suck or anything. I don't think it's like, oh, we're bad Christians. But if we're constantly losing these battles where we go with the kind of carnal, fleshly desire thing where it's like, yeah, I don't feel like it, so I'm just going to not do it. If we constantly lose those battles, I think that we're breaking any trust that the Lord has in us. And that might sound like a weird concept because he saved us, but him saving us is one aspect of our relationship. It's not the same as him trusting us. Like me loving my daughter because of who she is not the same as me trusting my daughter to take care of something that I've given her. They're two different things. And so I think this is important. I think this is an important, honest conversation for you guys to recognize, okay, well, Gabe, who comes on here every week and, yells at us about not being fat, he has those days too. And I do have those days. I have those moments. But here's what got me down here. Here's what got me downstairs to film this video, which if you can't tell, if this is your first time watching this channel, this is not where I typically film. I typically film right outside there on my patio and kind of face like the hill and the mountains and the woods. It looks really cool. Or I film in the clubhouse of this neighborhood, which has this awesome like room with a very cool backdrop. And I actually want to like replicate that room in my own office, but we're working on the office build out. We just moved here recently. Anyway, I don't typically film like in this chair, which is in my living room. If you can't tell, there's like a baby swing thing here. I don't typically have this demeanor. I'm not typically drinking sometimes I drink a Diet Coke, but I'm in a state where I'm not passionately, like energetically showing up on video and being like, I want to freaking do this. This is awesome. I'm here out of discipline. I'm here out of commitment. And I think this is an important subject because what got me down here was not the like desire to do it. It wasn't the want. It wasn't the emotion. It was the commitment to the action because I know that God wants to use this. It was the perception and perspective of the mission at hand rather than what my flesh wanted in that moment. My flesh wanted to say, F it, basically, and my flesh wanted to do anything else, literally anything else. Like, literally anything else. I didn't want to do it, but I'm here, I'm doing it anyway. And is this the most excellently executed YouTube video in the history of the world? No. But am I here? Yes. Is this going to serve somebody? Yes. Is this one committed action part of my journey and my process with my goal of building this YouTube channel and more broadly, like my goal of spreading the message that God's placed on my heart? Yes, this video is part of that journey and it's still progress in that journey. And I think that's the perspective that we need to have across the board with anything we're committed to, and definitely when it comes to taking care of our bodies, with working out, eating right. Because there are going to be days we do not feel like it. There are going to be days where you could watch all the videos in the world. I mean, like my client, my actively paying clients who have like committed and they're all in and they've got the financial investment and they're constantly exposed to the message and exposed to people and they've got support team and all that stuff. Like even those guys have days and seasons where they're like, I just don't really feel like it. But the people who actually see fruit long term, as in like tangible results plus also peace in their hearts with the journey, those are the guys who show up consistently even when they don't feel like it. And what energizes them to do so is a perception of how God wants to use their consistency, how God wants to train them in their hearts through their discipline. When the focus is the mission at hand rather than what you feel like doing, it energizes you to show up. It energizes you to show up. And then you show up like I've showed up here today. And this is not to toot my own horn. I hope this is clear. It's not like show up because I show up perfectly all the time. No, sometimes I literally just don't show up. Sometimes I don't do what I need to do. But I am here. And as I'm sitting here, speaking the video, saying what's on my mind, what I think people need to hear, I'm getting more and more energized. And I'm wanting to bring more and more excellence to the delivery of this. And I'm thinking, to myself, like, that was so dumb. Why was I thinking of not filming the video? That was so dumb. But that's what happens when we just commit to the consistency of showing up. It's typically way more enjoyable than we thought it was going to be. We typically get the energy from getting into the motion of the thing. And we're glad we did it in the long run. It ends up being something that we're glad we did. So I'm glad I filmed this video. I'm glad I sat here feeling exactly how I felt, whatever, words. And I'm glad I showed up. And I think you will be glad too if you show up for your workout today or whatever it is, whatever the thing is. Or you will be glad that you eat the right thing today instead of the crappy thing. I think you'll be glad about that. And I hope this video reminds you of that, because I want you to be glad. I want you to be happy, although that's not my utmost commitment. I do want you to be happy. I do want you to have peace. And I think you're going to have more peace by sometimes doing the things you don't want to do. Like, I think the issue is we all want to be that person who just always wants to do the thing. And you can get into a place, I think, for sure, where you are that person who, generally speaking, wants to do the thing. Okay, I generally, 94% of the time, want to film the YouTube video. 98% of the time, want to do the workout. 99% of the time, maybe. No, it's 99. No, it's probably not accurate, actually. If I actually counted the days where I woke up excited to do it versus having to do it out of discipline, it's probably more like 85% of the time I do want to do the workout. That's probably more accurate. But we all want to be, we can be that person where we're not like literally living enslaved to our desires and like flesh and living enslaved to sin. Like, we can be that person, but that doesn't mean we're always going to want to show up. But that is where, again, perception of mission and how God wants to use it matters so much, because then you're governed by the Spirit versus by your own flesh. And that energizes you. That gets your freaking body moving. That gets your flesh moving. And even in just filming this video, there's part of me that's like repenting for showing up with this attitude, but I do think it's useful to just kind of like be honest, I guess. Actually, no, I take that back, because I'm thinking through, okay, how would Jesus show up? And he actually doesn't seem to show up always with like positive emotion per se. Like Garden of Gethsemane, he's crying and sweating blood and all that stuff. Like, his emotions were not, yay, I'm going to go get crucified, ha ha ha. But he still showed up because of the joy set before him, because he knew how God wanted to use it, because he knew the mission. And so I think that's our answer. I think that is a core, at least one of the foundations of our answer. I think it's multifaceted, of course. And I don't claim to have figured out how to be the most consistent person in the world, but I think I'm relatively consistent. And even if in this YouTube video, like, depending on when you're watching this, depending on when you're watching this channel might have 1,600 subscribers. It might have 1 million. I don't know. It depends when you're watching it. And this 1,600 subscribers isn't like the goal at all. And it's not, I don't even know what percentage it would be. I don't know. It's probably because nobody does it from a like overall population standpoint. It's probably, higher whatever percentile of channels, but it's not a lot. It's not what I want. So you might watch this and think, well, Gabe, like, where's your awesome fruit? Where's your awesome, YouTube channel? And it's like, yeah, it's not there yet, and I'm working on it. But there are other areas of my life that I have embodied this attitude of showing up consistently, and they do have like insane, tangible outcomes that glorify God. The other thing too is fruit isn't like the tangible outcome per se. Fruit is how God uses that tangible outcome. Like, there can be a YouTube channel with 10 million subscribers, that's not fruitful at all because it's not glorifying God. Where at the same time, a 1,600 subscriber YouTube channel, if it impacts one person and strengthens the relationship with God, that might be more fruitful than, a video that doesn't do that, for example. And so when I say fruitfulness, when I say you're going to experience more fruit, I'm not saying if you do this, you'll be super ripped. I'm just saying if you do this, you'll likely have more self-control. You'll likely have more discipline. You'll likely have more peace. You'll likely have more joy. You'll likely have a deeper relationship with God. And I'm not saying I have the deepest relationship with God because I'm fit. I'm just saying that if you took part in this attitude and honored him with your body, it would deepen your relationship with God if you're not currently doing that. But when I say fruit, I mean like what does God do with it? Like your workout that you're going to do now after you watch this video, which is going to be great, it might not be the biggest workout. You might not lift the heaviest weights. You might not even PR for yourself. But you're going to show up. Man, I'm thinking right now, this workout when I was in California a few months ago, I did not feel like it at all. Like the most intense, I don't want to work out feeling that I can remember in a long time. And I still worked out. And I was like, I'm not even going to try to PR. I'm just going to show up and I'm just going to move the weights. And I'm going to get blood flowing and get out. And I still think about that workout. I still think about how good I felt after doing that one workout. No, I didn't hit the most PRs ever. No, it wasn't the biggest workout. No, that workout didn't stimulate the most muscle growth. But what God did in my heart through that consistency was incredible. It has fueled so much action. So much action. And I'm so glad that I went and did it. So, I hope this is just a reminder to you. Show up even when you don't feel like it. Show up. I think God's going to honor that. I think he would much rather have consistent people that he can trust who actually think it's more of an act of love to show up to what God is calling you to do, even on the days you don't feel like it, rather than to just become some person who magically always feels like it. Because if you magically always feel like it, then why do you need him? If you magically always feel like it, then what's the point? It's like, I got this, God, I don't need you. He's like, dang, okay, cool. But when we're just honest and we're like, God, like, yeah, sometimes I'm really psyched about doing the thing, but sometimes I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I trust you and I love you, and I'm willing to rely on you for my energy, not myself. I think he's like, let's go. Thank you for trusting me. I know I can now trust you, because there's some other battle that you're going to have to fight that's going to feel like death, and it's going to feel way more intense than doing a workout. And right now, you're allowing me to train you in that discipline. And I can trust you. I can trust you in that moment. I can use you because of that moment. So, yeah. Do it anyway.